Welcome, everybody. Today's episode is Dreams About Past Lives, and joining us is Avani Patel from Eternal Alchemist. Avani is a certified hypnotherapist and coach. Her goal is to inspire, empower, and guide you to create your own reality, the life of your dreams. I will add that Avani is where East meets West, and she is devoted to help women. You can learn more about Avani and book a consultation at her website, eternalalchemist.com, and follow her on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and Pinterest. Avani, thank you so much and welcome to the Dreams Portal podcast.
Thanks for having me, Ileana.
So let's talk about dreams about past lives. I want to know everything. How you visualize this, how you handle this with your clients, how you identify that this is a past life in your dream, everything. Give me all the 411.
Let's do this. So, first and foremost, the reason, my perspective and where I come from is that I am a past life regression hypnotherapist. So, I get to really help my clients experience their past lives and really learn from it and learn how we can better ourselves in this current life due to the past lives that we've had. So I feel like I have a different perspective based on the experience that I've had in my own practice.
So let's talk about the dream itself. So when you
Yeah.
start your consultation or your coaching session, tell me how let's start with the premise. Do we have dreams about past lives?
Great question. So when I talk to my clients about past lives, what we need to recognize is that this information and all information about our past lives is really fitted into our subconscious, and that those memories are almost eternal, right? They're just a collection of memories that we've kind of suppressed because our ego mind, our conscious mind, doesn't really need them for day-to-day usage. So they're always in the back of our mind. And when you're able to access them through hypnotherapy, through quieting your mind, through, having your ego sit on the side so that you can really do that inner work, that's when we're able to pull our subconscious memories. And so when we sleep, we are in that state of our subconscious mind because we're able to, we're not consciously awake. And that's when those memories can trickle in because we're allowing them to. We don't have any resistance to that.
Absolutely, the state of no resistance, and that's why I give a lot of credit to my dreams because I definitely suck at meditating. It's, it's not in my skill set yet. So in that state, when the veil thins and there's no resistance, there's a lot of opportunity to get guidance. Now, how do we know that this is a past life that we're dreaming of? Number one, and number two, in at which moments, because if they're already there, if they're in storage, in a manner of speaking, what is the moment they come up? When and why?
Right. Okay. So I'll give you a few signs that I've come across with my clients or even with myself that will really, next time you have a dream, you can kind of use these as signs to determine whether it feels like this was absolutely a past life. So the first one is you'll see faces that you don't recognize a lot of times, right? Because it's a past life, you may not recognize that particular face, but you'll realize that that energy is familiar. So you may say that, you know what, that has to be my mom in this past life. I mean, in that past life, she looks different. Maybe her relationship with me is different, but I recognize that energetic person from a soul to soul connection. I know that this is a past life and this person I have reincarnated with multiple times. So that's one. The
Okay.
second one is, say you are at a place. A lot of people, especially these days, I've noticed they have dreams of Egypt a lot. That's coming up more and more often. And you yourself have never in this lifetime been to Egypt, but yet you have that familiarity with it. And, in your dream, you sense that lifetime in Egypt, and you just feel that there's that energetic connection, even though you've never been there. So the faces is the first one, the places is the second one. The third one is that you yourself, you recognize yourself. So you obviously are going to look different, you feel different, your body is different. You could even be a different gender, nationality, religion, and so forth. All of that is going to be a different version of you, but yet you know that that's you. You sense and feel that that is a version of you from a past life. And maybe your behavior is different, your demeanor is different. But again, at an energetic level, you know that that is 100% you, and you feel it in your dream. So that's the third one. The fourth one is when you start when you start getting reoccurring dreams. So if you see that dream or a different version of that same dream happening over and over again, that might be a clue that it's a past life.
Wow. So, four signs, we have faces, places, yourself, and the frequency of the dream. So,
And I have a fifth one.
oh my God.
I
Oh,
know, I'm just dropping
let's
knowledge.
go.
This one's really interesting, but if you have either an injury or a birthmark or even a certain fear in this lifetime, and you've had a dream about it in a past life, something that's unexplained like an ailment or anything like that, maybe even digestive issues, and you know that you've dreamt about something that's happened in that particular place or in that form in a past life, then that's another clue. Some people have, like say they were persecuted, and they have like a mark on their neck, or they have issues speaking up. These are all past life examples to where you have certain patterns that you've brought or ailments that you've brought into this current life.
Wow. So, in all this, there's something very important that you mentioned, and it's the energetic connection.
Mhm.
So, you and I and many of our friends that we are into this kind of beliefs and lifestyle can recognize that. How about those who have not opened themselves yet to energy, to sensing subtle energies, or they are afraid how they can establish this connection?
Right. So I think at the core of all of us as human beings, we have that gut instinct, right? It's that primal instinct. And we know deeply within, whether we want to admit it or not, we know that, something just makes sense. In our gut, it's telling us, our instinct, our intuition, something within us is telling us to look at this dream more carefully. And, again, like you mentioned, fear, it's up to you whether you want to give into that fear or and allow it to run you over, and not get those beautiful messages and those learnings from these past lives, or whether you really want to follow your dream and follow your gut and really recognize that this dream is a clue into a past life. So if when you let go of that resistance, that's when you really start to find that those connections. If you are still feeling the fear, then you may just not be ready yet. And if you aren't ready, that's okay. Write them down. Keep a dream journal and write down your dreams so that when you are ready for it, you can, open it up and start looking at them then. I always feel like there's a time for everyone to open up. And, you may already have too many things going on in your own lifetime to where this life where you're not ready to open up just yet until you're at a place where you can.
Well, absolutely. And that brings one of these 5 points, 5 indicators that you mentioned, I want to say the reoccurring dream, it might be that constant reminder that keeps coming for that moment when you're ready. Because as you mentioned, many people don't want to look at their dreams, or it's just a dream. Well, a dream is just a dream until it's not.
Hmm.
Like a birthmark, I mentioned that with Helen in the previous episode, that a birthmark is a birthmark until it's not, until the dreams start coming up. And like you mentioned, the elements. So the reoccurring dream and recognizing yourself. I had a, well, I had a ton of dreams, but a few months ago, I had one. I mentioned this in previous episodes that I was a man, and I I was there helping this woman to get away. She was leaving her life behind completely. And in the course, and the audience is familiar with this dream. In the course of doing that, I lost a leg. I knew it, that the way it turned out, the whole adventure, the whole deed, I lost a leg. But she made it. And there were three of us actually. There was another guy that died, and we left him behind. So it was that dramatic. But it was not so much as reoccurring as it was one of those dreams that keep playing the whole night. Like you wake up, you feel like, yeah, I can go back to sleep and start picking up right where you left. What do you
Hmm.
say about those? Is that another indicator that, hey, you know what? Pay attention to this because we're not done with this storyline.
Exactly. Or here's another doozy that I think you would appreciate. If we think that, if we truly believe that time doesn't exist, how do we know that it's not another lifetime that you have going on parallel, and that you're just getting a glimpse of that because you're, again, our resistance is off while we're sleeping, and you're getting a glimpse as to what's actually going on in your concurring lifetime or a parallel lifetime.
Concurrent lives, that's another possibility. And with that, I'm going to bring this little piece of information. That dream or nightmare, I always had this, that I didn't graduate from college. Then I will wake up and I was like, what's the point of this dream, especially now that I'm retired? Yeah, I went to college and then some. I mean, all of us that went to graduate school, that why is this even a dream? Until, like you said, we open ourselves to the possibility of another scenario in the infinite permutations of our existence.
Exactly. Exactly. And look at some of the similarities of you now and patterns of you now in this current reality versus that, right? You were a male then. And I think you and I would agree that you maybe resonate more with males now. You may even carry a little bit more of that masculine energy compared to, the feminine energy. So there may be certain things that you continue to keep in this lifetime. And then even with your education, that's kind of the opposite. You didn't graduate there, and now in this lifetime, you went on to get your education to be a very successful engineer, and so forth, right? So there are certain things, if you look at, you've either carried those patterns, those repeated patterns, similar, or you've broken those patterns, and like in this lifetime with education, done quite the opposite.
Yeah, definitely. It's like for every decision point, there seems to be several variation scenarios that you decide to play them all.
Hmm. Exactly. And that's the fun part about being in our human bodies, right? And in existence, is that we can really start to see our lives as playgrounds. And each time we, incarnate, we get to play with different, physical bodies, different people, different scenarios, and really have fun with it, because that's what life is really about, is just having fun and trying different things. And we, as souls recognize that, and that's why we choose to come here, is to really use the human experience as a playground.
Definitely. Um, I want to ask you about the timing of the dreams, which I believe I already asked. They come up at a certain point or a certain situation in our lives.
Mhm.
When are these, in your experience with your clients in your practice, when are when is people more shaken up by dreams that are potentially past lives?
Right. So I have a list of kind of like the things that you would want to do if you see your past life in a dream. And the first thing, like you kind of mentioned just now, is to begin to analyze them and see why it's showing up for you right now. Oftentimes, when you see a dream right now, it's because it is your higher self, your higher awareness, kind of telling you now is the time to make a shift. Now is a time, for, like you said, all these different points in your life. Here's where we may be, here's a good time for us to lean towards this direction of your life. And so they're really kind of like wake up calls, or just like little notifications like we would get on our phones.
Right.
um being the techie that I am, right, they're just little notifications on, like we get on our phone, to where, hey, pay attention here, this might be important. And it comes in in a time in your life when that's when you're ready, and you're open most of the time to really listening to that call, listening to that notification, and being ready to do something about it. It's a time in your life when it's appropriate for you to pay attention to that dream. There's something going on in your life, at that current time, and that's why it's showing up for you right now.
Can you walk us through an example of a past life and how that connected with that person' current life issues and how you guided this person to understand that experience and what he or she needed to learn from?
Yeah. Um, so I had a client, who you and I both know, and she was having issues with her throat chakra. And she also didn't really speak up as much at that time. This was about a year and a half ago. And she was told that her throat chakra, did need some work from another healer. So we looked at a past life, and she was a witch in like Asia at the time. And her small town, she was a healer, and in her small town, she did very well. People came to her for help. And she used herbs and tinctures and all different types of remedies to help people and animals in her small town. Well, later on in her lifetime, that town got invaded by people who didn't understand her gifts, and didn't understand, how she was truly able to heal people. And so she was persecuted. So there goes the hanging, and
Yes.
being persecuted from her neck. And so during our session, we were able to do some clearing on her, within her throat, and with the persecution and being afraid to speak up, because when you do speak up, someone's going to come and do some harm to you. So that's a perfect example of how those patterns can come from a different lifetime, and we don't even realize it until sometimes even later in our lives. And but the timing was perfect, because she's starting her own practice, as a healer. And this is the best time for her to verbalize her story and to speak her own truth, so that she can go and serve others and help others to her highest good. So it was just a beautiful story on how those we can carry those things, not know it, and really be, in control and take our power back by clearing a lot of the old karmas from past lives.
Oh, absolutely. The cellular memory also. And
Mhm.
sometimes we don't understand. why do we have these issues? I will add to that experience that many share. I myself was chasing a horrible barking cough for years that no physician managed to even diagnose, which is very sad because at least get a diagnosis is the least you can expect when you drop thousands of dollars on all kinds of testing. But through some work, there were a couple of things that I was never aware because these didn't come up in my dreams. This manifested physically, and I have had at least that I was made aware of three lifetimes. One, kill myself by hanging. Another, die in a house fire.
Mm.
And another was murder, suffocated. So
That'll do it.
that will do it, definitely. And violent death. And once those came up, because unfortunately, I have to say for those listening to us, you don't get a package deal. This might come up in layers. You
Yes.
wish like hey, you know what, if we supersize this console, can we tackle everything? Nah, doesn't work like that.
Yes.
So as they were coming up, yeah, we always said that I wish that the three issues would come up at a time and be done with it. They come when they needed to resurface, and and that is the thing. Pay attention. If you find ourselves, and this is in no way encouraging people to eliminate or not seek professional medical advice, but make a note in your busy life. If you are chasing an issue that turns out to be a medical mystery, it's time that you give a chance to other options because you'll be surprised. And if you start on top of that having the dream, that's the notification that, hey, maybe it is time to try another route or a parallel path. It's
Mhm.
that simple. So that's the why now. Why this come up when they come up. Um, there are other issues too in terms of recognizing places and going back. So let me throw a wrench on this discussion. Past life, concurrent lives, or lucid dreaming. So when we jump into lucid dreaming, it turns into something else, or it's just more of the same. What is your experience?
I feel like it's all connected, right? It's all like we're just everything is interwoven. If you have access to it, it's all in. We always talk about the Akasha, right? It's
Yes,
all already in the Akasha. If you have access to it, which means being able to see it through your dreams, visually, energetically, all of that. If you have access to it, it is absolutely possible that it is part of your reality, whether it's the reality that we're currently focused on right now, or whether it's a different reality that we're currently not focused on that's happening.
definitely. And as a reminder to those, well, not I don't know if it's a reminder, but for those listening, in lucid dreaming, you set your intention and you're deliberate about the whole experience as opposed to a dream that comes to you when you're in dream state and have no resistance. Lucid dreaming is something that you can do in the astral plane and you command it if you
That
want to experiment.
right, but at the same time, nothing is going to be available for you if it's not the right time, if you're not the right person, if maybe, your intentions to do it are not, in the best alignment for you. So even when you command it in lucid dreamings, you're only going to get what you're ready to receive.
Again, the timing, the why now, what is
Mhm.
happening in your life. So let me ask you another question in terms of dreams for the people that have problem recalling their dreams, or they say that they don't dream. Everybody have dreams. It's the ability. If the person feels that there's an information, but there's some disconnect in the waking hours. What method do you use to guide this person to recall their dreams? Do you use hypnosis right off the bat, or do you try other techniques?
Yeah, so I am a person that doesn't always recall their dreams, but I'll recall dreams at pure like I'll have a time in my life, like a period in my life where I'm getting a bunch of dreams and I'm recalling them throughout the night, and then it'll just stop. And then, at certain times, and I know it's usually like when I'm more stressed and when my mind is I don't know, just going 100 miles an hour. That's usually what at those nights where I just wake up with dream after dream. And it's literally most of the time, it's my subconscious is telling me to slow down, take it easy, have fun, relax. And I'll get dreams that are kind of really symbolic of what's going on in my life. So for anyone that can't, recall their dreams, I don't recommend forcing it. I don't recommend forcing anything because maybe it's not for you. There's certain people that are great with dreams, and like we've heard the term dream master, right? They could be dream masters. Certain people like myself, I'm not a dream master and I'm okay with it. But I do really great with meditation, and I've been able to recall dreams, I mean past lives, in meditations for myself and even for some of my closest people in my life. So I would give myself some grace when it comes to recalling dreams, because everyone, not every, that's what's so unique about us as humans, right? Not everyone is meant to do everything. We're all meant to be different. And so what's unique to you is not going to be the same, unique to me. So, so yeah, so um, that's my take on that. And I do have a few more pointers if you do see your past lives on what you can do, if you want me to share.
Absolutely, yeah, do tell us.
So the second one is when you do recall your dreams. The first one was, just to kind of analyze it. The second step is to really look at those patterns and themes, kind of what we did just now with your past life, right? What are the themes that are playing, whether it's the same theme over and over again, or whether it's, you've taken the opposite route and now that's what's playing over and over again. So that's the second one. The third one is to take a look at the karmic lessons. So why is it showing up for you now? And what lesson do you need to learn from it? And these karmic lessons can be, something that either needs to be repeated over again, or it could be something that needs to be broken. So take a look at that lesson and why it's coming up. What is it showing you at this moment? So that's the third one. The fourth one is we talked about it a little bit already. Recognize those people energetically, because they are going to be different, but that gives you a great idea on some of the people that are going to continue to reincarnate with you in multiple lifetimes. And you'll start to recognize the importance of some of these people as being part of your soul group, and why that's important to you, and the different relationships that you guys carry with each other from lifetime to lifetime.
This last point that you mentioned is very important because it's coming up all the time. It's in the atmosphere, it's in the ether, because it brings the point of ancestral healing and
Mhm.
healing the bloodlines. Is That's another thing that we see in our dreams. Are you seeing a lot of those cases in your practice, that people come to you because there's an issue that is beyond the individual? It pertains to the whole ancestral line.
Right. I mean, a lot of people deal with, traumas, and these traumas usually tend to start before the age of 7. It's things that have been planted in your mind. And, a lot of it is family, right? Um, Unfortunately, parents get a bad rap, and oftentimes the parents, even unknowingly, have done something to, drop a seed that's been planted in your child's mind that ends up growing deep roots. And it's not intentional, but that false belief, that limiting belief, continues to perpetuate in this person's mind. And now, as an adult, they're really starting to have difficulty understanding why this has happened. And so, my fifth point on what to do if you're seeing dreams is to really, if you really want to go deeper into your past life and understand all that it's showing up for you. My fifth point is really to go to a past life regression professional, because what they can do, and someone like myself who, I have these sessions with my clients. When you come to me and you tell me that these are the things that are really burning questions within, I don't understand why this is happening with, my mom or my dad, or, why I'm feeling this way. Through those hypnosis, I'm able to guide them deeply into their subconscious, into these past lives, so that we can find those themes. We can find behaviors, fears, any traumas, any of that that's come up for them, and really be able to clear it. And clearing it is, I have 3 sessions, and the third one is clearing. And I think that that's the most important one. Is, a lot of practitioners, they'll just do the beginning, right? They'll just show you briefly a past life. But for those that really want that healing, you want to go to somebody that's going to help you clear it, so that you can move forward instead of just continuing on in that pattern and that cycle.
Well, absolutely. That's the whole point of this, clearing that. And they say all habits die hard. How hard it is to clear patterns that no longer serve us, in your experience.
That's why I love hypnosis. And especially what I do is hypnotherapy, because it literally is, we talk about them being seeds that are planted and these roots that are so deep, right? That's why when you can go into somebody's subconscious mind and start pulling those roots that are deep, it does. I mean, when you do hypnosis, you have to put somebody in a deeper hypnosis when we clear them, because there's so much resistance, to somebody, because this has been their way of life. And even though they want things to get better, they don't know what they would do without it, because they've almost identified with these traumas. When you say that, I'm somebody that has had, um, like, let's just say, emotional abuse in my life.
Yes.
um they identify with that throughout their whole life, and now they don't know what to do, what their identity is after they're no longer a survivor of emotional abuse. Now what's their identity? So a lot of these people, even though they want to pull it out, they have a hard time pulling it out themselves, because they feel lost after it's been replaced. And what do you replace it with? So instead, it's great for a practitioner to come in and help you pull it out, so that we can clear it, and we replace it with more empowering thoughts and empowering programming. We help rewire your brain.
That's an interesting point that you're closing that with, because you pull this energy and then there's some sort of vacuum, and you have to replenish it with something that is for the greater good of that individual and everybody associated to that person. Clearing is not the end of the process.
Right. I feel really blessed to be able to not only pull out the roots, but plant these other seeds, that are empowering, that let my clients know that they can move forward in a more powerful way, because we've, lifted the things that aren't serving them. And now we can give them the tools that they need to move forward more powerfully.
Absolutely, Arnie. This has been a phenomenal discussion about dreams of past lives, concurrent lives, alternate realities. This is awesome. This is why we love being light workers
Mhm.
and bring to people all the possibilities. Like you said, we're all different. We all have different talents and as different as the needs for everyone. What else you want to leave our audience with?
I just want to obviously thank you, Ileana, for having me on the show. And I would love to serve anyone that is interested in learning more about their past lives, because it really is a passion of mine. It's something that I've been fascinated with for almost all my life. And now I get to do this, and I really do it wholeheartedly. So yeah, if anybody wants to reach out, talk more about this, see if you would be a great candidate for a past life regression, feel free to reach out to me.
Absolutely. I encourage everybody to do that. And again, thanks, Ebony, for being with us. Stay tuned for the next episode of the Dreams Portal podcast. Sweet dreams.